Welcome to another episode of the Angels Positivity and Love Show. Incredible guests the world over with amazing insight, wisdom, patience, and they're here working from the heart, helping us all. They're giving service to others through their beautiful work. Today, coming to us from South Africa, one of those folks. Very excited to have him on. He's an international author, been at it a while, researcher, if you wish, scientist talking about mankind, consciousness, energy, sound, frequency, the history of the earth, really, and how much bigger than thinking it all really is. So, Michael Tellinger, great to meet you. Great to have you on. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Michael. Good to meet you.
You've been doing what you've been doing an awfully long time. Where do we begin?
Well, good question. The one important thing that I'm incredibly grateful for is that everything I do really comes from the same source of inquisitiveness, of interest, and it's just different branches of the same thread of interest and things that drive me, that excite me, from questioning who we are, where we come from, why we're here, to wondering about our ancient origins, to ancient civilizations. How much do we know? How much don't we know? Understanding the biology, the genetics, the nature of reality, sound, frequency, resonance, and consciousness. How does that all fit together? Understanding the interconnectedness of everything and the fact that everything in creation vibrates in harmonic unity, united or unified harmonic coherence, that you can't separate anything from anything else. And so this is all one giant pool of knowledge that somehow has landed in my lap, and I'm deeply grateful that I was given the tools to be able to identify and decipher a lot of those threads.
Before we talk more about opening openness, your research, the steps you've taken along the way, you've also been around for decades. You look very young, but you have been doing what you've been doing for a long time. And there's something called that pendulum swing with people's thinking. Humanity sometimes is in extreme efforts to control. We really don't get into narratives here or too much politics ever, so we keep it as high as we can in terms of intention. But I did want to ask you, do you feel like we're sort of having a pendulum swing and maybe we're at an extreme in terms of narratives, so much thinking, and you're really not allowed to explore as much as you could have 20 years ago? Where are we?
There's an interesting dichotomy happening at the same while there are more and more people waking up and more people asking questions and more people keen to go to areas that they were previously maybe afraid to go. At the same time, there's definitely a strangulation of knowledge and a desperate attempt by so-called authorities, governments, or whatever you want to call those groups of people, the elite, whatever you want to call them, that are doing their best through their control of the various systems to restrict our abilities to discover, to share, to silence humanity, to silence dissent. Well, in their eyes, it's dissent. In our eyes, it's knowledge and sharing and freedom and liberty and creating abundance and prosperity for humanity. So there's definitely these two polarization of the two, the split of the consciousness move and the growing number of people that attain high levels of consciousness and inquisitiveness, uh, moving away from those that are trying to control and keep enslaving humanity. Yeah, definitely.
We are getting to your story and how you got started and just what highlights you want to give us and then diving in. But Graham Hancock, if I said the name correctly, and Carlson and many others are attempting to pave the way. Could you just mention a few names that you really enjoy that are out there that you think their work is fantastic?
Greg Braden, one of my favorites. The two guys, Armando May and Felipe, now I forget his name, the two Italian chaps that just recently measured or discovered those giant structures under the pyramids. So John Stuart Reid, the guy that discovered the cymoscope and the cymatics, really he's like the leading researcher in the field of cymatics. There's Sam Osmanagic with the Bosnian pyramid complex, the Ravne tunnels, that and so many people still think that that's a scam, and I just feel sadness for those people because they've never been there, never seen what's going on there. There are yeah, just amazing researchers, and I like the people that make their own discoveries. Nassim Haramein has contributed a great deal to this field of knowledge and research through his Resonance project. Um, and the names escape me now. I've been blessed with meeting a lot of these people, being able to do workshops and presentations with them. Um, some of them are researchers in their own right, and some of them are scientists, and some of them are just inquisitive people that go out there and make discoveries in fields that they're not experts in, and yet they become experts in those fields, and that's what I love to see. And it's just for me, it's there's a very clear separation from true science, true research, true innovation from the restrictive and draconian control of the academic, the mainstream academia and mainstream universities that are keeping a tight control of over the research that and the release of the knowledge and information, especially in the field of medicine, healthcare, archaeology, obviously, that's been completely thwarted and suppressed. It's quite spectacular. And the more you work in it, I've been doing this work now for 20 years, um, since basically 2005. So the more you do this, the more you realize how there's just this ongoing attempt to hide knowledge and hide information, hide discoveries, and that's what we breaking that mold with the One Small Town initiative.
Well, let's go back 20, 25 years to when you were 15, and the old you
Yes.
to the new you and this path of exploration. But I'd say it's inner exploration as much as it is outer. How can you take us into your life exploring all this? Take us where you want to.
And you're quite right. It is inner exploration. You can't do this work without realizing that, or without the desire to attain more knowledge. And with that knowledge can only come through the elevation and the expansion of your own consciousness. So, and sometimes we're not aware of that, but it's lingering, and it's always bubbling and simmering there. And the moment you realize that, it's a wonderful feeling. Oh wow, all these new threads and new bits of information, and connecting the dots. So when you connect the dot, you almost feel the surge of wow, my consciousness has just expanded a little bit, because now suddenly I can understand, and I'm connecting to so many other things that I didn't connect to before. And that's what I find absolutely fascinating, is that the research and the discovery that I've been blessed with having the capacity to be able to decipher what it is that I discovered. Because if I didn't have the somehow innate or internal triggers that made me see what it is that I was looking at and recognize, oh my God, this is not a rock. This is a fossilized rib or a fossilized heart or a fossilized body part of some giant creature. If I didn't see that, then I would have just seen it as a rock, like all the other geologists and archaeologists have done for millennia. So these are moments that you realize that, wow, what is it? What is making me realize, and why did I see it and not everybody else that saw these rocks before me? And so I'm, like I said earlier, I'm really grateful for the ability that somehow I was given the gift to open my eyes and be able to recognize the things that I discovered from the stone circles, what they are, how far back they go, why were they constructed, how have they affected our planet, How can we utilize them for our own benefit? To to recognizing the origins of money and the slavery system,
Mm.
and how we can escape that without fighting or opposing
Mm.
the system. So again, this is all of this is connected within my own personal journey, and I've been able to walk all these paths of those, I guess, specialized areas that are inextricably connected to each other, but walk them separately while evolving and developing those areas, like researching the ancient civilizations while putting together a plan for helping our small towns become, attain abundance and prosperity, and turn the small towns into places of abundance. Um, yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on in my life.
Let's talk literal walking. Where have you been on a site that has generated an experience for you? It was perhaps the next day, it was that night, dream time, you had a vision or an experience or a visitation, or it was while you were there, you got all tingly. You must have had many of these, but which one is jumping out at you right now?
Michael, I've been really blessed to have been able to travel the world for 20 years, literally. Uh, 35 countries, doing lectures, workshops, interacting with people, going to sites that I never thought I'd go to. And so there have been many sites that I've been to. One of them are the glyphs in Australia, not too far from Sydney. It's probably like a 45-minute drive from Sydney. Those Egyptian hieroglyphic glyphs, what are they called now? I forget what they're called now. I'm sorry. I'm a bit embarrassed about that. It'll come to me now. But there was a very powerful, incredibly overwhelming, powerful feeling. I actually burst into tears. I had a complete breakdown there on the path to those glyphs, to the stone circles, Adam's calendar, my sites here. My sites I interact with on a regular basis, and they are incredibly powerful. They are healing.
Can you describe Adam's calendar for us? Back up and just take us to what it would look like if a person listening or watching walked there, and where are we specifically talking about?
So South Africa is the home to the largest concentration of ancient ruins found anywhere on Earth. And that's a surprise to most people when they discovered that, especially to South Africans. They all want to go to Egypt and Mexico and Peru and India, and yet right under their noses, between Johannesburg and the Kruger Park, they're driving right through the middle of the largest concentration of ancient ruins found anywhere on Earth, and they're not even aware of it. So that's my contribution to exposing that discovery to the world and to my South African compatriots. Um, so the Adams calendar was discovered by my friend Johann Heine in 2003 or 2004. He then spent 3 or 4 years exploring it, measuring it, realizing that it is aligned to all the cardinal points, north, south, east, west, solstices, equinoxes, and that it's an actual working calendar, sun calendar that you can tell every day of the year with the setting of the shadows created by the one stone on the other from the setting sun. And you can literally, the width of the calendar stone is exactly the width from one solstice to the other. And then the sun starts to move back, so the shadow starts to move back. So it's still a working, functioning calendar, and it's at least 300,000 years old. It is extremely old. It's older than anything else we know of in the world of ancient civilizations. And so are the stone circles. The stone circles are literally stone circle ruins with walls that are not necessarily higher than shoulder height, or sometimes even lower, waist height. These stone circle ruins are not dwellings for people or animals. They were created as energy generating devices. And the question why is a very complex question. We're still speculating, but what I can tell you is that all the stone circles are completely unique. Each stone circle amplifies the frequencies of Mother Earth and Gaia through the stone walls. That's why they also work as healing devices, healing chambers. When you walk into a stone circle, you automatically, all the trillions of cells in your body are picking up the frequencies that are being amplified in the stone walls that come from Gaia, and you experience healing. And that's a spectacular discovery that I made already in 2010, and actually before that. So I've had hundreds of testimonials of people that have come on my tours with me, my sacred sites tours, that have told me how they've experienced some form of healing by being in the stone circles. And not only healing, also fertility. People that have struggled to have babies or fall pregnant. There's certain stone circles, one in particular, that is an incredibly powerful fertility site. And people that have not been able to have babies come and do a ceremony with us, and a week later they're pregnant. It's crazy. You can't make this stuff up. So um,
Let's go for a really basic question, and good luck with this one, the trillion-dollar question. The age of mankind, how old we are. You mentioned, I think it was 300,000 years, but um, this goes, I mean, if we had this conversation in 1976, people might say 10 or 20 or 30,000 years or 50,000 years, but it keeps going further back. And there's more and more evidence it's gone further back. Can you just circle around on this a little for someone who hasn't been paying that much attention to these different experts out there?
Yeah, the origins of humankind is a tough one. It's a tough question because then you got to ask, well, in what shape, what form of humankind? The people that look like us, and then you got to ask, well, where do the different race groups come from? Because clearly there are at least five different race groups in the world. How does that happen? When did that happen? When did white people appear? When did black people appear? When did Asian people appear? When did Native American people appear? Because they didn't appear at the same time. They seem to have appeared at different times in history. So this is a very complex question, and genetically we can answer a lot of these questions by studying the genome and seeing the subtle differences. And I love this question because it's the white elephant, or it's the big elephant in the room that so many people are scared to talk about. Well, we should be talking about it, and we should all be proud of who we are and proud to the group of people that we belong to. That doesn't mean that we should undermine anybody else, or look down upon anybody else. It's being proud of who you are, proud of your people, and now realizing how lucky and grateful we are that we occupy this space in this beautiful world, and how beautiful we can make it together with our special, unique strengths. So when we go back and to answer your question, where does humankind come from? It's all of this stuff gets thrown into a pot, and it's very difficult to answer that because the question is all, who was that first human being? What did they look like? Who was responsible for creating that human being? Was it the gods, the mythological gods that we read about? Uh, because spontaneous creation or evolution out of what Darwinian evolution has been poo-pooed and disproven so many times. It's not even it's even pointless going down that rabbit hole. So I don't even go down the rabbit hole. But now you got to say, so if we were created, who was our creator and why were we created? Were we created for malicious reasons? Were we created for benevolent reasons? Were some of us created for malicious reasons and others for benevolent reasons? Where did it all go wrong, and why are we in such a conflict and turmoil today? And when did the fall of man happen, as we read in the Bible, and we also hear in other ancient cultures where there was some sort of destruction of humanity, and we hear about and we read about and we have evidence of these huge turbulent events, whether they are floods, whether they fire and brimstone from the sky, whether we have meteor strikes, whatever it is. That's it. The history of this world is the most fascinating thing to study. And I'm fortunate to be right here in South Africa, Southern Africa, because it includes Zimbabwe, Botswana, Swaziland, Namibia. And the ancient archaeology here is off the charts. And as we peel away, the hidden layers of our ancient history, it gets stranger, it gets weirder, it gets older, and more confusing by the day.
Okay, you touched on this for a brief second. Follow-up question. And if you could really run with this, is love the fabric of the universe?
Oh, absolutely. Because love is a frequency. I don't need to tell you this. Everything is resonance, frequency, vibration. The sound waves that we hear, that we communicate with, those are also frequencies. And love is one of the highest frequencies that we can have. It may not necessarily. Some people say that love is the highest frequency. There might be other frequencies that are even higher than that, like compassion or integrity, or I don't know. There's so many other things that I guess you can say that actually those are all pieces and elements of love. So I think when it comes down to it, the final thing is love, unconditional love for everything in creation is probably the highest frequency vibration. I stand to be corrected, but at this stage, that's what it seems like.
Well, let's do a personal question for you on your own personal development. There was a time where maybe you didn't pay as much attention to the universe, yourself, your surroundings, or maybe you always have since you were little, but usually most humans back off. When they start doing the adulting or trauma happens, they check out for a little while until they rediscover it twice as firm. So tell us a little bit about self-love, self-worth, your own growth. When were you not paying attention, and when did you start paying attention?
Very good question. I was a musician growing up. I was always a musician, came from a musical family, so I always thought I was going to be a musician. There was just like no question in my mind, and we were successful. We had songs in the charts, we toured, we played sold out gigs, and so in my mind, I was always going to be a musician. And then suddenly things changed. So when you're a musician, in those early days from the age of 19 till 28, for 10 years, I don't I came from that 80s musical period where music was in an interesting place. There were self-love. Although there were a lot of musicians that were very conscious. I mean, if you think of some of the greatest songs that come from the rock music era, and really deeply conscious songs with deeply conscious lyrics, um, and yet, what has that done for humanity? What have those bands and musicians done for humanity? I've often felt betrayed by the effect that music has because it's like a tease. So all the songs and peace and love and unity and freedom and make love not war and all that. So you get all these bands together at a big concert and they all sing, flower, all the flower children and whatever, make love not war, the whole hippie era, and then went and then it evolved into other bands that were singing songs, consciousness and unity and freedom and love. So you get all these people together in a stadium, and you get their hopes up. You elevate their hopes, and then at the end of that concert, they go home to their miserable lives, and they have to carry on dealing with their miserable lives. And that's for me, that's awful. That is just a terrible, terrible thing. I don't like that. And I want a solution. I want people to know that they can go and have an absolute elevated experience of elevated consciousness and unity and euphoria and happiness and joy, and go home and know that they can do something to continue that feeling and not suddenly go, wow, what now? I hate my life. I don't like my job. I'm miserable in my relationship or marriage. And so many people feel these emotions, and there is no way out for them. And I think that subconsciously, being a musician and feeling, I guess, betrayed is a strong word, but let down by the promise of the lyrics of the songs and the feelings of the songs. And then what now? That's, I think, subconsciously has been my driver to create the One Small Town initiative. So there is a plan. We have a plan to help people save themselves. Because if we don't save ourselves, no one is coming to save us. So we better start doing it for ourselves. Don't wait for someone to come and save you. So that's, in many ways, it's been my driving force. Yeah.
I'm going to ask next about self-worth, self-love, a personal moment of growth. Just share what you want on that front. But I'm going to buy you a little bit of time by just sharing. I was in Austin, Texas for 10 years, East Coast of the US, now in San Antonio. And during my time in Austin, love it there. Music, 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 South by Southwest, ACL or Austin City Limits. And there's this one venue, I think South by Southwest would tap 200 to 700 spots. I think it was 700 concerts in 200 spots, venues around town. So there's a restaurant that if you go to Austin, Texas, barbecue, great for lunch, great for a gospel Sunday brunch, dinner, good barbecue. But they have a sloped amphitheater, maybe 5 bars, enough for a few thousand folks. Very organized, very good vibe for the land, and a beautiful stage. But they'll have European acts and pretty popular acts. Two Door Cinema Club, M83 out of France, maybe the only one of two alternative bands that ever made it out of France. But I took this photo once, and I'm not trying to go too far off topic, but it was not raining, and it's all angels. And this is in the middle of
Wow.
M83 or Two Door Cinema Club, and there's joy in the
Wow.
middle. And that's the high vibe we're talking about that we
Yeah.
feel when it's a true moment you can't let go of. So
Yeah.
tapping that, can you share with us a pivotal private, this would be more on the spiritual front, a dream, a relative visited you, an angel came to you, or a loving being, or just you were in a vision, but in it, like riding a horse in the American landscape. Or it was waking, a stranger with sparkly eyes, or one of those moments where to this day you still once in a while flash back to it.
Well, mine is slightly different. It's a moment where I had a life decision to make, a decision in which direction my life is going to go, and it was like a big decision. And this was 2010. It was after my first extensive tour of the USA. 2010, I did 28 cities. It was a long tour. 28 cities across the USA over 3 months. It was intense. And I came back to South Africa. I was exhausted. My girlfriend went back to her Johannesburg apartment to make sure that everything was okay. And I was alone here at my house. And I had a big hot bath to decompress with Epsom salts and everything. And I was laying in the bath and I had this it's like God reached down and said, "You got to make a decision. This is your moment. You have to decide which path you're going to go." And the choice was you carry on writing books and researching ancient civilizations and origins of humankind and the ancient ruins and all that, or you focus more on the One Small Town initiative, on the Ubuntu movement and the One Small Town initiative to find a solution for humanity for the future. Which is it going to be? And I've just come off a tour where I was talking about ancient civilizations, origins of humankind, and all that. But the most powerful moment of every one of my lectures in the USA and Canada, by the way, as well, was the last 10 or 20 minutes of those presentations where I focused on the Ubuntu movement, the spirit of Ubuntu, sharing, caring, community, taking care of itself, taking care of each other, of our children, providing for each other, realizing that we are much stronger when we stand united, when we cooperate, when we collaborate, rather than we standing alone trying to survive as lone gunmen and lone rangers. That doesn't work. We are infinitely more strong when we stand united and have each other's backs and provide for each other. So the choice was, what are you going to do? Which way are you going to go? And I realized that if I didn't pursue the path of the One Small Town initiative, I didn't know of anyone else that was doing it. I know there are many groups and many movements doing amazing things, but not in the fashion that I had in my mind structured the evolution and the growth of the One Small Town initiative. And it was a profound experience. I had a complete breakdown. I shook and cried for about an hour in the bath, realized that I have just had a christening and adopted this responsibility to evolve and develop the Ubuntu movement and turn it into what the One Small Town initiative that I've now spent almost 2 decades developing that. Yeah.
I'd love for you to keep going on this front. I'm going to read 5 or 6 quotes, maybe 7. 5 are from angels, one's from a NASA astronaut, Story Musgrave, and then maybe another angel quote. But 4 or 5 of them will be the same theme. It's going to be compassion, exploration, getting out of the comfortable path, stuff like that. But I'd like you to do a part 2 and continue on with what you're doing. Now, here's the Story Musgrave NASA astronaut quote. I've said this on the show so many times because I love it. Getting out of the comfortable path, that's what exploration is all about. So there's quote 1. Here's a bunch of quotes defining compassion. I think if we took 1,000 people and asked them 10 times a day to check in with the universe, angels, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and ask, what is compassion? I don't think any 2 answers 100 years later have to be the same. Here's Jesus from 10 years ago. Compassion is open eyes and open heart. Here's Abe, the Abraham of old. Compassion is not judging, taking action with no thought. Here's an angel named Dale, said, compassion is just being and trusting the outcome to be of the highest intent for all. Here's one from Mac, don't call her Mackenzie. Compassion is treating every moment with the awareness of a newborn baby. And one more from a Native American chief, passed over but unconditional love figure, Dull Knife, original name Morning Star, Cheyenne. Compassion is being kind to yourself and letting go of past failures and accomplishments in the now. And I'm going to throw one more in for fun because I like enthusiasm and the rest. Positivity is abundance. I think Archangel Michael said that. Positivity is abundance. What did you get from all that? Where are you taking us?
Literally, as you were talking, I just totally resonated with everything you said there. And for me, earlier I used the word empathy, and I was actually meaning compassion because the two are very different. Empathy can actually be quite a negative emotion. Compassion is really the word I was looking for earlier. Um, what I'm getting out of this is really the same feeling that I've had since 2010 when I made that conscious decision that I'm going to devote my life towards creating an environment in which everybody will feel free and unburdened and unjudged to be able to do what they're good at, knowing that they can survive, that everyone else in their community has their back, be loved and honored and respected for who they are and what they do and what they contribute to their community, and not be judged by whatever degree they have or how much money they have, but what they contribute to their community and be loved and honored for that. And to me, that's one of the fundamental cornerstones of the One Small Town initiative, where slowly but surely, as our communities become more and more abundant and self-sustained and prosperous, we realize that we don't need money, we need each other, because money does nothing, people do everything. And that's when people realize, oh my God, we don't need money, we just need each other. And slowly but surely, we start moving away from this slavery system without fighting it, without opposing it. And it'll literally just fade away out of our lives, out of our memory. And 1,000 years from now, people are not going to believe when they're told, did you know that 1,000 years ago, they had this thing called money? And you had to get up in the morning and you go to a thing called a job that you hated. And people did this their entire life and then they died. And when children hear that 1,000 years from now, they're not going to believe it. Or actually, let's say when children hear it 100 years from now, they're not going to believe it. Because 100 years from now, I trust and believe that we'll be so deep into the one small town success that people would have already forgotten about what it was like to live in this socioeconomic slavery system.
Mankind awakening a bit more. I mean, mankind is ready for more kindness, compassion, gentleness, and less rat race. It's not external, it's the thinking up top, I believe. Um, with that,
Yeah.
the only speculation I've tried to do is what would help mankind overnight to shift just a little bit more or to be more open. And to this point, I had asked an angel named Dale like 10 years ago. I don't ask a lot of big questions, but this is one, not who killed Kennedy, but what would help mankind if everybody was willing, and this is a big thing, would everybody on Earth be able to pay attention at the same time without violating free will? And if they were, how fast could they open up and kind of take consciousness to the next level, or awareness, or beingness, or suchness, the Tibetan expression? And the answer was 3 hours. That was 10 years ago. So I personally felt like if everybody woke up one morning or at noon on the other side of the planet, and everyone saw light on each other. Now, bad people or people acting out of here might not see as much. Or if you were a real estate person wanting to do a deal with 20 different groups in Taiwan, some of them you're not seeing light on. They would not be as high vibration. You probably wouldn't want to do a real estate deal. That could significantly alter day-to-day transactions. The more you're open, the more you see, the more you flow light. A lot of people would, after a while, would probably get a headache and be like, shut it off. But my point is that would help mankind tremendously. The light is already on the trees and everything else. So I'm leading into two quick steps that are kind of not woo woo woo, but energy frequency related. I'm going to light some sage, blow it to you, and I'll put this up for a little light. We'll keep it to 20 seconds each time. At home, if you haven't watched the show, you only have to set your intent. Ask angels, the universe, love and above to make it nice, get you out of your head into your heart, and just own it with a thank you, Om Sai Ram, amen, rock and roll, whatever works for you. It's got to be your method of letting go. But out of here into here. So I'm going to light some sage. Are you ready, Michael, in South Africa?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Go for it.
And if people do get sage or when they smell smoke or whatever, you can close your eyes and get flowers. And then if you want to get a three-tier level here, you can get ocean. Doesn't have to be the ocean you live in front of. And if you want to go cray cray, close your eyes and you'll see light on your eyelids. But that's a lot for some folks. Um, I'll tell one dad joke that's hopefully a new one. Why did the rabbit fall down that well? He didn't see that well. Okay, Michael, I'm blowing smoke to you from Texas and South Africa. Are you already getting it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
And if you could close your eyes and ask for more, you will not share it out loud, though. Just say, got it. Ask for all your universal life coaches, we'll call them, your Kumbaya squad, your cheerleading squad. Ask them to do something special for you. Just say, got it when you got it. You're not sharing what it is. Breathe, breathe, breathe. No triota. Did you get something extra? It could be a little hug, goosebump, a whoosh, wind in the room. I'm going to blow through the microphone that's down below today. Catch a little extra something. Did you get it?
Yeah, no, I got it. I got
Okay.
it.
If you want to share it, but I don't like to put
I,
pressure on folks on air.
I got
So,
I got a very confusing image that I can't make sense of.
okay. And I'll do
I
one
got
last,
a
I'll do one last act. You're welcome to share it if you want.
yeah, yeah. I want to share with you what I got through the smoke that I was getting from you.
Ooh, okay.
I got like two, possibly three teenage young girls, maybe in their late teens, late teens. They look Native American almost, but they like popped up from behind a wall and put their elbows on the wall. They like popped up behind the wall, put their elbows on the wall, and just started looking at me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like just didn't say anything, just like
I
uh bizarre image.
I'll put Geronimo's photo up in a second. Older Geronimo, who's unconditional love, action, 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 dry wit and humor. You won't have to share anything on on air, but we'll give you 20 seconds for that in a second. And I won't light anything, but he can bring one of 50 cents: tobacco, sweetgrass, juniper, cedar, pine, desert pinon, blah, blah, blah. Here's this one quick dad joke. You've
It's funny,
already.
Michael. Just as you're saying cedar, as you said cedar, I was smelling cedar. It's weird. Yeah.
And well, guests, 95% of the guests are doing this on the show, and sometimes multiple times they're seeing light on panels. They're doing it jointly. I'm off the hook. So people who want to check that out or need more encouragement to own it here, because you're already that inner fearless, peaceful warrior, and I feel like that's the work Michael Tellinger is doing for all of us. He's reminding us to breathe, allow, let go, and own what you've got. And remember that belief is power. I'm giving you a huge compliment. So here's a little bit of light between my fingers. And just breathe, relax, be, and allow. You're seeing with your heart, you're seeing with all of you, you're seeing without seeing, the Zen thing. And are you ready, Michael?
I'm ready.
Okay, just see a little filament of light. Tell us what it is, and then we're all done. What do you got?
It's almost it's moving towards purpley, like a purpley, violet purpley light.
And the faster I go, the more that can happen. But I'm going to actually put my hands down. Next time you come on the show, we'll, if you're gracing us with your presence, and it would be great if you would, um, we'll do more next time. Okay, I am going to put up one photo of Geronimo, unconditional love figure, treetop level. If angels are like a mile up, they're a little more harder for us. It's a high vibe. You can hear him talk. He's the only one who's not proper and formal out of Dull Knife, Red Shirt, Geronimo. There's Crazy Horse, there's Black Elk, there's White Buffalo, Catwoman, a lot of others, but those are a trio. He's very like, yeah, nah, duh. You already know the answer. Very practical, might make you laugh. Do me a favor, just say ready and get something private. You can get a hug, you can catch another aroma, but you're only going to just say, I got it, and keep it to yourself. If you do want to share, that's great. He's very deep and very beautiful. Feel what you can feel. Do not judge at home. Allow, allow, allow. No triota. And if you need any extra help, breathe through your mouth. 1 millimeter through the mouth just drops you into your body more, into your light field, your rainbow light body, whatever you want to call the frequency, the unique vibration that's you. And that's where we're going to go next is how can we tap into our unique life vibration? We're going to turn you into a self-help expert, a coach for all of us. How do we go about our lives daily, paying attention more? But first, Geronimo, are you getting something from him, yay or nay?
Oh yes. Oh
Okay.
yes.
If you want to play psychic, I'm going to put him back up. What message does he have from him to you to relate to all of us that is in total synchronicity with what you've been saying the whole time? And if you could just say, got it,
So,
and I'll put it down.
yeah, no, I got it. I got it
Okay.
very strong. I got it within 3 seconds of you putting him in my face. It's amazing that face of his turned into a big smile. It was a big smile.
The
Yeah.
photographs do move, and you're giving me goosebumps everywhere. I have to do Audrey Hepburn only because she's amazing. Will you let her wink, smile, eyebrow goes up, shoulder waggle? I've done this one hundreds of times on air. And she's an angel. So you get to pal around with these folks anytime, get any answer to any question. I'm very excited right now. But just let her bring you a perfume from Paris or Milan if you prefer that's uninvented. It should be so elegant that that alone was worth coming on. And then we're going to get you back talking seriously, first at a self-help level, and then back
I
to,
want to tell you, I want to tell
oh,
you what Geronimo told me.
oh, please.
He said to me, I looked at him and I thought, and I just saw the smile, and then it just came, and it was like, it was very simple, straightforward, like a smile said, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't question it. Keep doing what you're doing. That was it. As simple as that.
I love it. You've made my day, so thank you. Okay, here's Audrey, an actual angel. Can I have you juggle 5 balls at once, though, so that the brain can't track any one action, and therefore it's like Missile Command from the 1970s, where you're going to lose all your cities in the end, and it's a good thing. You're going to put your hand up, feel her vibe through this. You're going to ask for a hug and get it down the back. You're going to see her move in the photo. You're going to ask a question, just what do I need to know right now in life? And you're going to hear a beautiful answer. You're going to catch a perfume. I think that's 5 or 6 balls. The brain can only knock down one or two. It doesn't like to play sports. So here's Audrey. And really feel a lot of love come in. Let her move in the photo, catch that perfume, and breathe through your mouth, drop into your light body even more. And feel yourself expand. If you want extra favorite figures from around the cosmos to come in, have them come in. What do you want to share first? And you can hear her full on. If you off camera want to put your hand out like you're getting 50 euro, off camera, let her hold your hand as a full on human. A lot of people do that. And you don't tell us that you got that hand. It's okay. But what are you getting when you're ready? Or I'll be quiet for about 30 seconds here. Let you have the actual experience. And breathe, 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 breathe. And if you'll close your eyes, let her show you a little vision. It could be just this, that, it'll be beautiful. Breathe through the mouth more and just drop into your heart. And anybody who needs help at home, put one hand on your heart, then another hand on your heart. Just ask to get help from the universe out of the head into the heart where all the fun stuff happens. And that's Michael Tellinger. He's helping us in our hearts to not take the hardcore reality too seriously and realize there's always a bigger picture in everything we're seeing and feeling and doing. Okay, I'm pulling her away. Michael, did you get something? Did something happen?
Yeah, I could feel her giving me a little squeeze in my hand. It was gentle. It was gentle. It was like it was almost a tease. It was like it wasn't like "Whoa," it was it's like a test. It was almost like a test. Did you feel that?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I could feel that. A little tease squeeze. And and then I could see her smile literally a few times. That smile sort of it was really interesting. Like Geronimo's smile, same thing, I guess. Um, and the overwhelming message I got from her was don't ever doubt yourself. Don't ever doubt yourself regarding what it is that you're doing. That's the message I got.
And that's where I want to go straight in at the treetop level or lower. Call it self-help, call it self-awareness, call it self-love daily. How can we all not get caught up in the drama? Because that's a waste of energy. Ego, thinking, reacting, rejecting, worry, stress, fear isn't where it's at. And that's what really believe your work is about, is helping humanity out of here into here. Talk to us as if you're not Tony Robbins, but talk to us as you, to all of us, your message of hope, your message of growth for us all.
So my message of hope for everyone is that we have a solution. There is a solution for the insanity and the madness and the misery and the hopelessness and the fear that so many people face in the world every day. There is a solution, but it's up to us, it's up to you, up to each and every one of us to recognize that we have a solution and take that step. No one's going to do it for you. You have to take that first step. It's a journey of 1,000 miles. It starts with that very first step. Do not be afraid because there are no other alternatives. Like I said earlier, no one's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. And you start by saving yourselves, your family, your loved ones, and then finding a community or creating a community, becoming the leader in your community to bring all the others around you. I believe that it takes one brave individual that sheds the fear that so many of us have, fear of loss, fear of death, fear of disease, fear of losing your job, fear of not having enough money, all the fears that we face every day, fear of war, fear of freaking, it's just crazy. Just just drop that, knowing that there's very little you can do about it, but there's something you can do for yourself, for your family, and ultimately you can become the leader that holds the flag, becomes the flag bearer and the inspiration in your community that starts that wave that grows and grows and grows. The first domino to fall. We have a solution, and I've been working on that solution for 20 years. And if you don't like it, then find another solution. But if you can't find another solution, then you use our solution. Use this. It's not our solution, it's your solution. This is the world's solution. It belongs to the people.
And this
And
has been an indigenous people's approach to living forever. And I'll mention just if you could take us to just above the grass cutting level on a
yeah.
daily basis, either what do you do to stay grounded, to stay hopeful, a daily practice? What can all of us do as if you're either a healer type giving us that advice or a self-help type? What can we do to stay here more? Is it getting out in nature or something else? But take us that last little bit.
So you see, the questions that you ask are interesting because they actually come from a position of certain amount of, and I don't like to use the word privilege, but being in a position that you can choose to go and be out in nature. Just imagine the billions of people that don't have that choice, that are stuck in a horrible life in some disgusting city that they don't even have enough money to get out to the perimeter of the city that they're stuck in. They live
Rio
in a
de
little
Janeiro.
apartment,
Yeah, Rio de Janeiro, the slums.
and in China and in India and so forth. And you know, and I think the reason I'm in South Africa doing this work, because I was fortunate enough to live in South Africa during the apartheid days and understanding what it was like. But during those days, it was also one of the best countries in the world in terms of technology, etc. There was everything available. In fact, in that period, there were no shacks. There were no tin shacks. There were no shanty towns. And then the moment liberty came and freedom and democracy came, everything went to hell. Literally, in 30 years, one of the best countries in the world have been destroyed. Now I face people in my town, in the little town that I have, there's probably 70% unemployment. Just let that sink in. For people that live in countries like the USA or Europe, they can't imagine what that is like. Every second person you meet is hungry and wants food. That's the number one priority. Where am I going to get enough food today to fill my stomach? So I'm dealing with this reality on a daily basis. And I have to deal with 20 people that come to my gate every day asking for food because they've heard that I'm one of the few people in town that actually helps them. So I've been navigating this for 17 years while living in this town, developing the One Small Town initiative. And that's possibly one of the driving forces that keeps me driven and understanding the very basic fundamentals from third world countries and second world countries, if you want to call them that, and then the first world countries, and the differences between the needs and the desires of the people between these in all these different arenas. What is it that the people of the small towns in the USA need, as opposed to what do the people in South African small towns need? And there are differences, but ultimately, the common denominator, no matter what country you're in, is that everybody is sick and tired of the system. Everybody. And I'm talking about the average people, the middle income, the low income, and many of the upper income people. They're tired of the rat race. They're tired of having to fight to hold on to what they've created. They don't want to lose it. They don't want to get robbed. They don't want to lose their properties to an invasion. And so everyone is sick and tired of fighting for survival, whether it's from the most basic principle, having enough food, to those trying to hold on to the wealth that they've generated. So many people, by far the largest majority of the people in the world today, are looking for a way out of the system. And they don't know what to do. They really don't know what to do. And sometimes they start doing dubious and stupid shit that gets them into trouble. And then they regret it. And so my message to all these people is there is a solution. There is a solution. Sign up as a member of One Small Town. Learn what it is that you can do. Use the blockchain. Use the platform that's there. Everyone benefits. No one can cheat. No one can run away with your funding, money, investments. Everybody benefits from what you start to create. And this has taken 17 years to develop. That's why it wasn't easy. It took a long, long time to understand why intentional communities have not worked. Why has literally every single intentional community in the world failed? They might feel wonderful for a year or two. Eventually, ultimately, it collapses and fails. And often there's a lot of bad fallout, a lot of heartbreaks. People lose their properties, marriages go belly up, and friends start to sue each other. It is a mess. Well, there's a solution. You never ever have to worry about doing that again. So that's my driving force, and that's what I do every day. And we are now so close to making that a reality because it's like I said, it's taken a lot of trial and error, learning through trial and error, trying it over and over again in different countries, different towns, from Canada to the USA, to Italy, to Ireland, to South Africa, to Zimbabwe, to Swaziland, to Australia, to Brazil. We've tried this in so many different countries, every time learning what can possibly go wrong, what has gone wrong in the past, and what should we work into our blockchain model so it can't happen again.
Hmm.
And let me tell you what, right now, we're sitting with such a beautiful um, platform, if you want to call it that, that is there for everyone to use. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to pay a membership fee. It's free to everybody. And and I believe we're now so close to the first domino to fall as this year 2025 draws to an end. I do expect that this thing to start accelerating in probably by March 2026 for various reasons, also because of the technology that we've developed that is going to help provide funding for some of these projects and these small communities that helps to accelerate the launch of these. You know, one of our favorite slogans that we have in the One Small Town movement is we use the tools of enslavement as tools of liberation. When we don't fight the current system, we without any violence, opposition, or conflict, we create a new system that slowly but surely makes the existing system obsolete. And that's exactly what we're doing. And it starts with the first domino to fall, whether it's a small town in South Africa or in America or Australia or Brazil, doesn't matter. It's going to be that first domino that's going to make everybody set up and go, oh my God, did you see what they're doing in this little town in Texas or in this little town in Western Australia? Did you see what they're doing? It's amazing. And we need to do the same. And that's it. And then it just creates a chain reaction on a scale that I don't think the world is going to be. Well, let me put it this way. The governments are not going to be ready for it because it's going to happen so quickly. So from my side, we're just doing everything possible to make sure that our blockchain and our platform is robust and doesn't fall over. And it's not going to do that. So
Thank you for that. And as we wrap up, I'm going to buy time for you on this and just ask you to be that Indian guru for a second who hands out a mantra to someone. Could you give us a mantra to the audience, something less than 10 words, something that's from the heart, something that's a reminder for us all daily? And I'd like for you, if you could, I have a lot of guests do it this way. You don't have to. But could you repeat it 3 times so people can feel your vibration and as much as hearing it? Can you repeat this mantra 3 times?
yeah,
What
I'll do
what
that
is
for
your
you.
mantra,
So,
Michael?
so I will lead up to the mantra before I say it. Um, I need to just first lay the foundation for that is that once you immerse yourself into the One Small Town headspace and you lose all the fear, you realize that you're now in a community where everyone has everyone's back. We take care of each other's children. Our children belong to the community. Although they're your children, we all take care of our children. There's no fear of not having enough food. There's no fear of not having a job because that is irrelevant. There's no fear of not having energy or water or healthcare. When all of that stuff is the best possible quality that you can imagine is available to all of us. That is ultimately the One Small Town. That's where it all goes. And it just starts with a critical mass. And the critical mass, from my research, is about 3.3%. It is not 50% or more. Critical mass is a much smaller number. So once you immerse yourself in that kind of mentality and you realize that we're not fighting each other, we're not competing against each other, we're all working together so that we all benefit from everything that we do collectively. And the slogan and the mantra for that, to keep sustaining that and to find solutions for any possible problem that we might find in our community. The moment you put on that kind of hat and that kind of mentality, you will solve any problem that you will find arise in your community. And trust me, I've been doing this for 20 years. I have faced people on live debates like Charlie Kirk did thousands of times around the world, in more than 600 cities of the world, in more than 35 countries of the world, where I take questions from people about One Small Town. How does it work? How do we benefit? How can it work, etc. And you'll find the moment you put yourself into that One Small Town mentality, you can answer any question and solve any possible problem as long as you keep to this mantra. If it's not good for everyone, it's no good at all. If it's not good for everyone, it's no good at all. If it's not good for everyone, it's no good at all.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for being a guest on Angels, Positivity, and Love. Loved having you on, and very much, I'm very grateful for you being here today.
Thank you, Michael. Really great chatting to you, and keep up your wonderful work.
Thank you very much.